whenever you come to the live, I know you'll see this. So even though no one is here right now, I know that eventually people will get to it. So anyway, so this is about 8 months in since I've been in Guyana, almost 8 months, and by the time a little bit over 8 months, that I'll be leaving to go back to the U.S. So I wanted to come in and talk to you a little bit about my experience here doing business, my experience in terms of just being received by the community and doing business, my experience in terms of perhaps some unscrupulous people that you, but more so you have to look out in Guyana or any of these small islands, or even more so based on experiences that you hear over time from different people. So I've been well taken care of. I probably lost about 25 pounds since I've been here because of all the walking. I do a lot of walking up the hills and down the hill. I would rather walk a lot of days because not only is it good exercise, but it's also environmentally friendly. So I've become very environmentally conscious these days, even more so than I was in the U.S. And I am pretty much okay. Do I have any regrets? Absolutely no regrets in coming. Absolutely no regrets in making the decision to build my lounge. It's just been a fascinating experience for me. So I'll start off telling you all the good things, and then we'll get into a little bit about just a few experiences, maybe at least maybe two experiences that I thought it was really bad. But again, it comes with the territory of doing business and the territory of understanding that when things happen, you just have to move on. So, with my contractors, I think there were many people that came just by chance. I think that people who I was working with already said, hey, so and so does good steel or good metal doors or good protective doors for your business. So go use him. Call that person up and they do what they have to do. The Let me start from my fence guy who did a fabulous job. If you are looking for someone who in the Linden area, he's now working at Bosai, the company Bosai. So he's quite busy at this point, but he's coming in actually on the weekends because he's now got some time off because he's been there maybe about 6 months now. So he has like the weekends and so on, or every other weekend off, I believe it is. So he's gonna come in and do my outdoors bathroom. I trust no one else to do it, and I wanted it to be consistent in terms of what we produce on this property, so that customers can come and have an enjoyable time and feel like they are in someplace else other than South America, other than in Guyana. So when they come in, they actually do have a very foreign feel. So I'm trying to provide that. So I'm merging both worlds together. And so with that said, I am able to create the kind of spaces that I enjoy myself, and then of course that my customers will in turn enjoy as well. So he's coming in to get my bathroom done. I have waited on him, not only because of the fact that I know he does good work, but I needed time to do other projects as well because it takes money to do everything, as you guys know. So money doesn't fall out of the sky. And everything takes money, it takes time, and it takes good planning. So I made the decision to wait. I noticed that it just had a glitch in the system. One of the downfalls of being here and even teaching from this location, lecturing from this location, you will find that your internet or your lights will go out. And you have to just always be ready for, what you can do or how to pivot. I haven't quite mastered that because I have a generator that is sitting at my granny's place for the past 6 months, and I have to get my electrician to hook it up. But safety of that generator is absolutely important. So until I feel absolutely safe that someone won't jump my fence and take it, I don't think I'm going to put it down for now, because my husband spent a lot of money on that generator. So I'm going to wait until I can have a nice protective fence around it, and then I'll be able to place it on the property. But for now, it's safe where it is. So with that said, now you have to pivot every time this internet goes wild, if you're teaching or if blackout comes. And so, sadly, Linden has a lot of blackouts. So that's some of the downsides I'm gonna tell you about doing business here. That's one of it. Now the other thing is that, like I said, good contractors, awesome to have. Be on the ground with your project. I would advise you that. Even though I started this project from overseas, I was sending my money directly to the lumber yards. And I sent it to the lumber yards because I trusted that the lumber yards, sorry, I'm thinking that's one of my contractors showing up, but it's not. Okay. But the lumber yards will give the product to whomever it is. So that's how I did it. So therefore, nobody is getting my money in their pockets like that. The only time they get the money is when it's time to pay them, and they can do whatever in the world they want to with their money for the service that they provide. But in terms of my products, I send it directly to the lumber yards. So I would suggest you get the lumber yards numbers, get their pricing, and all of them are about the same pricing for steel, for cement, for blocks. 4-inch blocks are about $90 for, just about any, even the smaller businesses, they're about $90. The vent blocks are a little bit more expensive. To deliver it, it's usually around $2,000. This is here in Linden, of course. $2,000 to deliver it, which is about $10 US. So it's not that bad of a delivery fee. And I would suggest buying all your things that you need to, so that way you get one delivery instead of having to consistently run back. But there are times when you do have to go back, and you have to go back because sometimes you don't have enough money with you. You have to go to the bank, you have to Western Union yourself money or whatever it is, so you have to go back again. But my advice is to definitely try to not go back too steady. But I've been there several times. So, okay, that's one of my contractors coming in. So I'm going to step away from the camera a bit. I can't pause it. So I'm going to step away. But hold up, and I'll be right back. Give me a second here. All right, so I'm back. Well, maybe I should get this fan going in my direction. Yeah, so I eventually, sorry about that, but I Eventually, like I said, I would go around to different lumber yards and get my price in and make sure that I bought from the places that I needed to buy from. Now, and as much things as possible because the delivery fees, they add up. Okay, so that is something that, again, do your homework, buy from the lumber yards that you're familiar with. If you're overseas, send your monies directly to the lumber yard. Do not send it to people. Don't send it to family members. Don't send it to whomever. My cousin built this property. I still sent my money to the lumber yard. And even when he did some work for me before, I'd always sent my money to the lumber yard. So do that because the lumber yard is more responsible. They're more transparent with you. When you call them to get prices, it's always across the board very good in terms of them giving you the information that you need. It's also, if something isn't right, they also will fix it. So that's the good thing. A lot of the businesses I'm finding are doing that. They're actually really adhering to the fact that customers aren't happy and that they need to fix something when they're not. So that's a good thing to know that a lot of the businesses in Guyana are now practicing it. However, some of the small businesses, mom and pop businesses, are really, really horrible at this. They will not budge even if something goes wrong, which is sad. And then they lose customers because of that. Because I am one of those people who I will not come back and spend a dime with you if you see something is going wrong and they complain about it, and then you sit there and say basically you're not going to do anything and you're not going to give me my money back or you're not going to fix the problem. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean I want my money back. It just means basically that I need to have maybe another pan or another set of whatever it is that I'm having. You know, even if it's chicken or eggs or whatever, it's not good. You know, change it out, fix it, and give me something different. And I'm not a big complainer. So if something is wrong, then I do complain. So, anyways, that is part of the process here. Good contractors, people who know to show up on time. That's one of the things that I found also that was very good with all my contractors. I did not have people who were repetitively or just kind of just did care about what time they showed up. If they told me 9 o'clock, they were here most of the times by 8:30, 8:45. A lot of times I was later than they were, and they're sitting at my gate waiting for me to get in. Now, I like that discipline. Sometimes, every once in a while, you have someone who will show up a little bit late, but they'll tell you, you know, hey, I had something to do, and they give you an explanation, which was good. That wasn't very often. So I found with the contractors, it's good. Now I'm gonna get to the negative part when it comes down to consistent workers, though. When it comes down to hiring people to work in your business and how bad that is. So another good experience I've had is the fact that neighbors will want to help you out. I had my neighbor next door who is very, very helpful. I am telling you, if he did not get involved with the process of me getting water, and I said this before, getting light when I needed it to cut steel, to cut, different type of wood, so that my contractors could work, telling you I don't know what I would have done. Because literally the area isn't like a neighbor everywhere, like every corner. They're there, but it's so far away. But he is directly next to me. So that was good of him to step up, and he saw my vision. He understood the need, and he stepped up. And of course, you compensate people. You don't just use their things and not give them something for it. That's rude and it's abusive. So of course I always compensated. And there were times when he said no, absolutely not. I'm not taking anything. It's good. It's all right. That's and then I had to force him at other times to take because he was being too nice, and he's still got a wife. He's got he don't have small kids or anything, but still you have to provide for your family, and he's helping me. And I didn't see no reason why. Well, they're helping me because basically this is their household. But of course, I dealt with him more because he was, he was more at home and she was at work. And he's a cattler, so he once his animals are good and everything like that, he usually gives me the line before he leaves to go cattle, I mean, his animals, and then he would come back in and take the line back in the evening hours or whatever. So he was very, very helpful. So good neighbors, and people who give you advice to do the right thing. Now, there are a whole bunch of people who want to give a whole bunch of advice, so I'll tell you about that negative part later too. What else? The support from the community in terms of the business, coming out to support you, giving you really nice compliments was really refreshing. It's good because it's encouraging and it keeps you focused on making things even better. They're appreciative of what they have in the community because they really haven't had something like what I'm providing here in Linden. That's what I keep hearing every time customers come in, new customers, old customers bring in new customers, and the message is the same, is that they want something different. And I have to say that even though they say Guyanese people will go to places and take things, I haven't experienced that. Like literally, my customers come in. I use only champagne glass. I only use only glasswares in here, so there's no plastic anything. So they will not touch a thing. I will step outside, go do whatever I have to do, leave my customers here. I've got everything sitting there. I've got liquor on the bar and display, stands, and nothing goes missing in here. And it's really, really good. But I also have a very mature crowd. I have a very educated crowd. I have a crowd who are made up of nurses, doctors, lawyers, CEOs. So of course, that kind of population, you're not expecting them to do stupid stuff. But even when the young people come in, I don't find that I feel anyway because they don't touch anything either. And those young people are also workers, and they work at banks, they work in different capacities. Have I had the crazy customers at times? Yeah. I think that every once in a blue moon, maybe about 3 times I can count where people came in and they were very uncomfortable with the atmosphere. Here at my location or at the lounge, if you haven't been following me and this is your first time here, here at the lounge, it's more of an R&B concept. It's more of a jazz concept. It's more of a relaxation. I do reggae music every once in a while, but mostly I do it for myself. Like when I'm here during the daytime, I'll play it. I try to bring more of an R&B concept, more of a foreign concept to the environment. Because everybody else plays reggae. And if you want to be different, then you can't play the same game that everybody else is playing. So I, for one, have dissected into R&B, soul, jazz, 80s type of music, 90s, 2000s and stuff, R&B and jazz and so on. So for me, that works. My husband has been pushing me a little to get into more reggae music and all that. But what's interesting is that, one, you can tell their mood change. And I think that's because they hear it so much. Because this is Guyana. There's no shortage of reggae music anywhere in Guyana. Whether you are, in Linden, Georgetown, wherever it is you go, you're going to hear reggae music. Reggae music reigns in Guyana. That's just the truth, right? So now you're starting to hear more pop. You're hearing some, definitely you're hearing some country music. You're hearing R&B. You're hearing hip hop. You're hearing all that stuff. So, but it's still not the dominant type of genre, or for any of those are not the dominant genre that plays here in Guyana. Reggae is going to be the dominant, and I think it will continue to be so. Calypso is the second in line. But Anyway, and I do calypso. Like tomorrow, I'm having a birthday, a 35th birthday, and the crowd is young. They don't want to be in R&B all day, but they also want to show just it's not a lot of space in here to do much dancing, and I don't really. I'm not a club, so I lounge. So they come in and they can move their waist if they want to over some calypso, but it's not much that they can do in here. But when I start renting out the outside, I'm pretty sure there's lots of room because I want to do like a different type of events over time and also be able to rent the outdoors. So that's going to be a different ball game. But in here, I have different plans for it as I continue to build the infrastructure outside. So let's go into the negatives. Negative is customer service. My customer service is top tier. I'm here alone for now, but even when I had the workers here before my place got robbed, so that was one negative thing, of course, and I spoke a little bit about that in the video before. But even with that, I should say, I have to tell you that it's really well, the fact that I provide good customer service is what I'm concerned about. When I go out to different establishments, I'm also concerned about that. The way people treat you as a customer is absolutely important. Most people are very nice when they own the store, or if they are, I don't know, maybe family member to the people, or they're long-term workers. So I noticed that the customer service the places I frequent tend to have good customer service, and maybe that's why I keep going back there. But there are plenty of places, little mom and pop store, where it's absolutely horrific the way they talk to their customers, the way they treat you, the way they throw things on the counter, almost like if you're not paying them. And when you ask a question, they kind of seem annoyed that you're asking anything. That is also out there, and that has to change. That culture has to change, and the fact that people are, not as trained. Hopefully, we continue to have more people who come into Guyana and provide those kind of customer service oriented trainings so that our customer service folks here can get better at what they do. Because when they are that bitter at their customers, we tend to want to go off into other spaces and go to other places where people are going to treat us well. So those places, when I give you an example, when I first started opened the business, I pretty much didn't have any food one of the nights. I decided that I'm just going to go in early anyway, so I didn't bother to. But I had a few customers who came in and they wanted some chicken, so I sent out to get the chicken. And around not far from here, decided to support another local business. When the chicken came, 2 or 3 sets, and I think I spent a total of like $15 to get the chicken. $15 US to get this chicken. And so when the chicken came, the first person that tasted it said it wasn't good. And thank God these were friends and family members. So I was like, oh dear. And then the second guy said, who was also a friend and a family member, close family member, said, no, this is no good. So none of it was good. So the taxi took me back to her the evening hours because we were driving, and he said, oh, this is where I got the chicken from. So I said, okay, let me stop him. First of all, the music was so loud that she couldn't hear me. She's in the back cooking. The guy comes up front, and he's not doing or saying much because he's not the person in charge. But I explained to him what the problem was. Turns out that he goes back, tells her what the problem is. She's still cooking, not budging. And then I guess she expected me to leave. But I was, at that time, irritated that she's not even saying anything to him. Okay, you're not gonna come to me directly, but maybe you can go to him. You can tell him something to tell me. She doesn't do that. So he comes back to serve another customer, and all this time I'm, saying, listen, fix the problem because I paid so much money for this chicken. And generally, if you go back to an establishment, they're supposed to assist you. So she finally comes up to the counter after about 8, 9 minutes of me standing there talking because I guess she realized I wasn't leaving. And then she says to me, oh, well, I took the chicken out of this, little thing that she has on her counter, and it's supposed to be good, and everybody else would have complained if it wasn't good. And of course, she's talking, deep Guyanese or whatever. And I'm like, okay. I said, but ma'am, the chicken wasn't good. And I'm telling you, well, she's like, where's the chicken? I said, I threw it out. She says, oh, you have to bring it back. I said, I have to bring back cooked chicken to you to complain to you about the chicken wasn't good. I was like, what kind of, I said, I didn't even know people do that. I generally in the US, if the chicken isn't good, you go back, you complain that it isn't good. They give you back whatever it is. So I'm not expecting to have to go bring the chicken back to you so that you can determine if it's good. What would you have done? Now eat it? Now this chicken has already gone through the taxi's hand. It's also gone through the hands of the person I give it to. It's went through my hands. Are you going to go taste the chicken? So I think it was just a poor excuse to not give me back either another set of chicken back. Like give me fresh chicken. She doesn't want to. She doesn't do anything. She's telling me that I'm not listening. I said I'm not listening because what you're doing is you're trying to find excuses around, and the music is blazing high, so she can't hear. She's loud, I'm loud, and we're over there battling over the fact that she sold me bad chicken, and I fed my. Thank God, like I said, these are people who I knew, and I gave these people this chicken, and they were like saying the chicken wasn't good. And this is 3 sets of people that said this, so I didn't even taste the chicken because once they said it wasn't good, first of all, I didn't buy it for me; I bought it for them. And I wasn't gonna try to, go taste the chicken after they already tasted it. Once they said it wasn't good, one was coming from the U.S., another one was here local. 2 were here local, but one was coming from the U.S. So anyway, I just I left her and I said, listen, keep the money, and your chicken still isn't good. So, and because I told her, I said, I'm in business too. I said, and I would never do that to a customer. I said, if a customer comes in and says the drink isn't good, I've already instructed my staff. Take the drink, make it over. Don't argue with them. Don't fuss with them. Don't say, oh, well, I did it. No, take it back. It's not good, it's not good. Make the drink over. It's that simple. All right. So I am in this place where I believe good customer service is pertinent for growth, right, to your business. So, and if we don't get that in this day and age in Guyana, then there's something wrong with that picture. So that's one bad experience. Customer service is horrible. Finding good workers consistently that won't steal your stuff, that won't run your business to the ground is very important. I have heard many, many stories of people who have been here for a while. Do not let anybody handle your money. They were handling my money at first at my business, and I found after one night that I actually stayed here by myself that I made triple the money than what they were saying that I made. So then I had to assess. And then once I said that I was taking over, watching, what was happening, I sat on the veranda like about maybe over a month, just watching to see how they're doing, watching to see their customer service skills, watching to see if these are people I want to continue with, watching everything, blah, blah, blah. So as soon as I said, well, I'm going to take over the register, one person quit, and all of a sudden, there was okay, well, there's something wrong. But anyway, I am not accusing anybody of anything but all I knew is that I was spending consistently to buy things in the establishment, whereas that shouldn't have been because I was taking money out of my own pocket rather than the business, buying for itself. So where was the money going? If it's not coming into my hands and I'm consistently, getting money from the bank to buy things, that money was going somewhere, and it wasn't in my pocket, and it wasn't back into the business. So anyway, that was only a month. So I am glad that I stepped in. But within that time, I had learned a lot about the local customer service, how they treat people here, and how I would rather my customers be treated, and how my employees at the time were performing. And they were doing a pretty good job. So I honestly, an excellent job. So it turned out good in terms of them setting the precedence for me taking over later, which is, of course, I'm the one who told them what I wanted in terms of my customer service, and they followed suit. So that was good. And these are trained people in terms of their own customer service, and they're workers in other places, and they pretty much just came in. One was a teacher, one works at the water company. So customer service, it shouldn't be anything new to them. Good customer service, I should say. So with that said, I am pretty sure, what time is it? 11:05. I am pretty sure you want to know what else was bad experience for me. When they broke my place, I knew that, I said this before, it was someone who knew the place. It was someone who knew that I had a weak lock on one of the doors. I had that lock on when there was nothing in the place, so I didn't have a concern. But once I started bringing things into the place, furnitures and drinks and so on, I had over 2 months to change that lock, 2 to 3 months, and I didn't. I don't know why. It was on the grill, because I have grills all around. So, but it was on the grill. But the grill, if it's a weak lock, once they broke the door, so they used my own hammer, which I had downstairs because the contractors are usually around. And so I usually have things on the property, which I stopped doing that. Things to rake things out and break into my place. I moved those things around. I mean, cement and so on is always going to be outside, of course. So, but other than that, I just moved it away because they used my own hammer that I had downstairs on one of the ledges to rip my door apart. Used that same hammer to rip the lock open, because it was really one of those very little dollar store locks, the gold ones. And I wouldn't say it's from the dollar store, but it's about $3, $4 or so. So it was very weak. And so that was a bad experience. However, I was thankful because I had so much in here, thousands of dollars worth of stuff in here. And when I looked at what they took, my camera, my spotlight with the business name, which they can't reuse anyway. They can try to get the new plate for it, but don't know what they're going to do with that, because I have trouble getting that plate. I don't know how they're going to figure that out. But anyway, I guess they took that anyways. They took my camera, which was worth almost $300. And they took the mini camera. They took a lot of different things in here. They took beers. They took my grenadine, which is a liqueur. They took several things. But at the end of the day, I could have lost out on a whole lot more. Cocktail tables, my chairs, my this, my that. Listen, a lot of stuff could have been gone, but it wasn't, and was thankful. I said, let them go, leave the phone that I usually use. But that phone was an old phone, like an old S8 phone. I guess it looked brand new, so they thought it was a brand new phone. But that phone was old, and it wasn't, something was wrong with it. And it couldn't even connect here. It couldn't connect in the US either. But it could play on Wi-Fi. So I guess they thought that they were getting something. But that phone, because I don't give people information. I don't give out information about myself, my movement. I don't give out information. That's another thing I have to talk to you about in terms of security. And continue with that discussion on security. Your movement in this place is pertinent to your safety. Keep your business to yourself. Say less. Let them know, oh, where are you from and what are you doing here? Oh, well, I'm from Miami, and that's it. I mean, what are you doing here? Oh, my family is from here. I'm from here. I grew up here most, until, and I give them, truthful information, but at the end of the day, they don't really know much about me. And I want to keep it that way because it's none of their business and who I am and getting into my deeper more thing. And I tell them like I'm a teacher and stuff like that, but basic things. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about people who want to come in and basically find out more and more about you and whatever. And I'm not the type to, I'm very, very transparent, as you know, in a world where it's open. But when in a world where it's extra open and closed at the same time, in Guyana, because in Guyana it's kind of like a closed society in terms of I will not share knowledge with you. I will not let you know and help you to develop because I want to keep this to myself. It's closed in terms of certain type of pertinent information, police information from the police, information from the bank, information. Like everything is so closed. You got to go, almost jump hoops. These days it's getting better. Jump hoops to find out basic things. A lot of times people will give you information that isn't truthful because they themselves don't know. Not because they're intentionally giving you the wrong information, but because they think it's true and it's actually not true. When you go into the place of business, you find out that that's not how it works. But you find also that a lot of people, this is another negative, they will come to your place of business or your place of, I guess, where you dwell and try to give you all the advice in the world and what you should do and shouldn't do. Now, if they had all this knowledge, then maybe they can create their own thing, and then, but everybody has an opinion about what you should and shouldn't do. And I think that is like kind of, okay, all right, I heard you. I heard you. Now, every once in a while, though, people do come along who help you to make good, better decisions. And those people are far and few in between. All right, so don't listen to everybody. You have your own vision. You have your own ways of doing things. You have your own knowledge. Utilize what you know. And listen to the people who you know for sure make sense. And those are the people I listen to. And there were about three or so people that came along out of the hundreds of people that I've met. There were about three people that came along and said something to me, and I actually acted on it because it made total sense to my business, made total sense to growth, make total sense to my existence in my business and how I manage and so on. So those are the people I listen to. Another thing that I find is that 99% of my customers enjoy what I produce here. However, there's going to be that 1% that comes in and they want you to change your music. They want you to do this. They tell you to play this person. The other day, someone comes in and tells me to play somebody named Skank or whoever the hell he is. Now, remember, my place is a clean place. When it comes down to music, I don't play cussing music in here. It's very respectful music, R&B. It's still sensual, still sexy. But I'm not in here playing all this cussing and this and all that. First of all, I have neighbors whom I promise that I will upkeep this place. Second thing is that me myself don't listen to that type of music, so I don't want to hear it, right? My customers come in, they want to hear it. But there are going to be young people or some people who come in, even some of those older ones who come in every once in a while. I've had about 3 or 4 of those, by the way, who came in and said, "Oh, can you change your music?" And you have to stick to your guns. So no, I don't change my music. I will put on better R&B if you want better R&B. I will put on better calypso if I have a private event, right? But I will not put on a bunch of cussing music. So I didn't even know who this guy Skank was or whoever. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. But apparently, when I told my husband, because I asked the guy, I said, because when he said to play him, I said, "Well, I don't play cussing music here. Is it cussing in it?" He's like, "Oh, no, no, no." But I saw him kind of like smile a little under his breath. So I was like, "Oh, no, he's up to no good with that." So I kind of said, "No, no, no, I'll play some Barris." And I just, I switched over to some Barris. But when I told my husband was like, "Why did he lie to you? That's not true. That guy is the guy that they recently banned from Guyana, because of all the violence and the cussing and the music." So people will tell you things to do that you don't want in your business. Now, let me just say something. I am doing a business. I understand that I have to appease to customers, but I also understand that I'm trying to create a culture here. And one of it is not falling into the other part of the culture, which everywhere you go, there's music, cussing, there's smoking, there's this, there's that, all sort of stuff going on. There's people fighting. Everything is a big scene in this place these days. I don't know what it is, but people are complaining about all the parties and all the fighting and the stabbing and all sort of stuff. I'm not trying to have that at my establishment. Absolutely not. You come, it's not a bar, it's a lounge, right? It's a place where you relax, where you can have a conversation over good music, over good sexy music, over some good cutters and all that stuff. So I'm not trying to create what everyone else created. I know my vision. I'm not diverting from my vision. And I promise a lot of people who came in and said, "I love this place. Please don't move away from your concept. Please don't, not uphold the standards, because Guyana, Linden needs something like this." And so those two or three people, I would rather lose them as customers than lose my 99.99% people. And those people are the people that I'm trying to appease to. So it's not me wanting what I want, it's me hearing what my customers are saying. I introduced it to them, they love it, and now they're like, "Keep it up. This is exactly what I want." All right, and that's who I'm trying to appease. Anyway, let me see what else. In terms of any other negatives that I've experienced, just people who will try to tell you something is more than it is. So go into the stores and find out what the prices are yourself for your liquors. If you're doing a business like mine, find out what the prices are, write them down. Some places there's actually behind the glass protector. You can just write it down. If you don't see a price, generally everything is priced these days in Guyana, so that's good. But if you don't see a price, you can ask the price, and then they're really good at giving that information. It's really a good environment for business, but you have to do your own work. Come here and be on the ground with your money, or send your money via your directly to the lumber yard. In a small place like Linden, that's not impossible. In places like Georgetown, I'm sure if you made a link directly when you come on board with the owner, they wouldn't mind doing it for you either. It's money. They're not going to say no. Okay. Let me see. I don't know. It's just been a really good experience for me overall. I haven't, outside of the few negatives I just mentioned, which is just life, period. You know what? I haven't. My customers have been supportive. They have been supportive. They've been good. Oh, the one really bad thing that I have to tell you, the lighting system. I said I would talk about that. The lighting system is horrible here in Linden. It goes out often. So you do need your own generator, whether you're building a house or you're building a business, definitely. You need your own generator. I suggest also LED lights. Actually, I don't even have LED lights. I just wait until the lights come back on, and generally, thank God, it's usually between maybe 20 minutes to 35, 40 minutes max that the lights are cut off for. But the other day, it went off for over 10 hours. So I literally had to shut down that night and go home. But let me see what else. And I decided that early because it was off from since about 10 o'clock. And when 6 o'clock came and I realized that it wasn't on yet, I knew it wasn't going to come on. And I had asked that's another thing. Stay informed with your taxi drivers. They know things. They're on the road. They know what's happening. So I always ask my taxi drivers what's going on around town. Hey, can you tell me which spot has tonight? No, you have to size up your competition. So your taxi driver is pertinent to understanding what's going on around town, and then telling you, okay, well, yeah, over here has Five Corner has this on this night, Four Corner has this on this night, this place has this on that night. So when you plan your events, you know how to plan. Like, I'm not fully open. I'm still like, maybe I would say quarter way open, because I only have the bar inside open. I used to have downstairs open, but with all the rain and it being an outdoors facility, I had to stop putting down tents. I'm now only open inside. So people love the coziness, they love coming in, but for customers to leave their home to come all the way here, and they're in blackout. And also, the other thing that I notice is that Guyanese people tend to, in Florida, when it rains, we come out. That means we find a restaurant, we find a bar, we find a lounge, we find our bistro. We go out when it rains because we don't want to stay in when it rains. In Guyana, it's quite different. When it rains, people stay in, and so business gets very slow. The taxis complain, the other businesses complain. So yeah, it gets slow. So some nights I'm here, a couple of customers come in, and I just know that, all right, I should call it a night, because it's raining cats and dogs, right? And you just want to, you know that people aren't going to be coming out, much less on the back road where I am. So, but people travel from all the way over the river in the ward when it's a good day. For the most part, all my customers come in, they drive. So only few come by taxis. So, but even with them driving, they don't like to be out when it's raining. So it is what it is. It's the culture here. So that's it. But as I begin planning into the future, building my deck, doing a design for a picnic kind of approach to my business as well, where I'll be doing picnics for people who want to do picnics down at the water and so on. As I design my backyard for housing, little Airbnb kind of night thingy, so that when people come from out of town, they can stay. As I put my little privacy area for VIPs who want to just not be seen. I'll be updating you and showing you my processes and how things are done. Next time I'm going to talk about money. I didn't talk about money today, so I'm going to talk about money and how much things are, and the fact that you have to still spend. It's the world that we live in, right? So I spoke just a tiny bit about the fact that things are costly, don't matter where you are, and that you have to spend money, right? So, but it's cheaper than if you bill yourself. It's cheaper than in the bank. And that's what I did. I built myself. I didn't borrow money to do it because I don't want to be owing anyone, because it's annoying knowing that every money you make goes to somebody else. Nah, I don't like that. So I just built out of pocket. Okay, so you'll see. I'll go down the list of everything that I did, and so far, since I last told you about the building of itself, and what monies it took to do that, I'll go down the list of other things that I've done. And so we'll talk about money and building in South America in my next vlog. This is Donette. I enjoy being here today. My vlog is really about informing you on this repatriation process that I'm doing, and to encourage you to also go that route of going back home to your home country, wherever you're from, building your own establishment, small business, and so that you can have a fine or a good retirement, and that we don't have to continue to live and work in the U.S. and in other countries where until we literally don't have any energy and we die. Okay, we should be able to enjoy life. We should be able to take it easy, and we should be able to enjoy the better things. And we're coming in with more money. So therefore, we are not the same as the local people who are making way less. I am still working. I still lecture from overseas, so therefore I still have my salary. So that makes a big difference. All right. So, anyways, again, I'm done it, and I'll see you in my next vlog or my next live. You take care of yourself. Bye bye.